With the Oscars very slowly approaching, it has given me the time to really see as many nominees as I can. It is my goal this year to see every single Academy Award nominated movie, no matter what category. And one that I was going to see anyway was Society of the Snow. And I have finally gotten around to seeing it, and I have a lot of thoughts to share with you guys, so let's get into it. So if you didn't know, Society of the Snow is Spain's submission for the Academy Awards, and it got nominated for International Feature, as well as Makeup and Hairstyling. This was a very gripping story from start to finish. I had some concerns about the runtime. It's about 2 hours and 20 minutes long, and for the type of story that it is, I was a little bit concerned that it wouldn't engage me the entire time. Well, I was proven wrong, because this thing was just so engaging and just such a beautiful display of visual storytelling. Not much needed to be said here. J.A. Bayona showed us exactly the tragedy that had occurred here, the effect that it had on these survivors, the shared trauma that they all had in this experience. This thing is graphic, it's unwavering, and because of that, it ends up becoming such an uplifting yet tragic story at the same time. Those are two statements that don't really go together, but for Society of the Snow, they really do. And you just have to give credit to the superb direction here. The story follows a Uruguayan rugby team on a flight. They go over the Andes and they crash, and once again, very brutal, very tragic, and we're basically going through their journey of survival. They're there for a very long time, and they have to go through extreme lengths to survive. And it's based on a true story, which makes it even more harrowing. The cinematography here is absolutely stunning. There's a wonderful use of close-ups here on the faces as they become a lot more gaunt and sunken as they begin to starve. Their lips are all parched and dry due to the harsh conditions that they're in. And the performances are fantastic. We're dealing with a massive ensemble here. A lot of characters that we're going through. And they manage to make you care for pretty much all of them. Whenever something tragic happens to someone in this team, you feel for them, and that is just phenomenal. You don't really see that in a film with a massive ensemble. Sometimes some of the side characters become a little bit more forgettable and you don't care about them as much. But I think because this is based on real events and we're dealing with real people here, you can't help but feel something every time someone goes through something really tragic in this film. But there are certain characters that we're really focused on. The main one is Numa, played by Enzo Vognierich. I'm sorry if I brutalized that pronunciation, but he's fantastic in this role. And he's an interesting character for which to follow, because as you find out later in the film, there's some things that happen to him that make him very present, but not present at the same time. And the way that he utilizes that is very, very clever. And he's just an interesting character to follow. And you can see how uncomfortable he is with the extreme lengths that this team has to make to survive. But they have no choice, considering they're out there for so long and they have nothing to survive on. It is so brutal what happens here. I think there's also a great sense of space within this film, and I think that goes to both the production design and once again the cinematography. These characters are sometimes in very confined spaces, and you can't help but feel a bit claustrophobic even when they're out in the open because of the surrounding mountain ranges and little hope to escape. And with what little food and water that they have, it makes for such a claustrophobic experience that you are uncomfortable and you feel tense while watching it, as you just want nothing more than them to get through this and survive. It's also really impressive how they recreated a lot of photos that were taken from the real experience. I mean, almost one-to-one these shots look. I thought that was a fantastic, almost stylistic choice and a great eye for detail from J.A. Bayona, who just does a fantastic job directing this film. I think its Academy Award nominations were really well deserved. I think an international feature nomination is definitely deserved. I think it has a strong case to win the damn thing. And its makeup is phenomenal as you see these characters evolve over the course of the film, and more makeup is utilized here. It slowly becomes transformative, and you don't realize how much until we get to the end of the film. So I really appreciated that subtle progression in the makeup and hairstyling. You could have nominated this for more things. I think the visual effects in particular were fantastic. Once again, fantastic cinematography. It's a fantastic movie overall. I just am really impressed by this thing. And usually with some international films, while they really appeal to people that really love cinema and really love films like me and you, but to the casual audience, they still have a hard time getting over that 1-inch barrier that Bong Joon-ho famously referenced. The subtitles have always been a problem for many audiences, but there's a few select ones that break through that just have this massive widespread appeal. You saw that with Squid Game, and you kind of see an effect like that here. It had really good viewership from Netflix, and I have no problem recommending this to a ton of people because while it is brutal, people can't help but be fascinated with these stories of survival. So I do think it makes for a really fascinating watch that's so easy to recommend. I think in terms of nitpicks and gripes that I have with the movie, I do think the dialogue is actually its weakest aspect. It's not like it's terrible or bad, but I found it less engaging than when we're just utilizing this fantastic use of visual storytelling and the more subtle and quiet performances from the fantastic cast. When we're getting dialogue between the two, I just found myself getting a little bit more disinterested and disengaged with the film. And in those segments, they just didn't work for me like the better parts of the movie do. It's probably a small gripe, and I think that depends on what is really drawing you into the story. Some of you might really love that aspect to it, and I won't disagree with you. That's fine. Everyone has a different viewpoint on a film. But with me, I just found that those moments didn't work for me as much as the real highlights of the film that really stuck out to me. Overall, I think Society of the Snow is a really great film. Once again, really easy to recommend. It's really well directed. It is just a fantastic movie. Spain definitely made the right decision in submitting this film. It paid off for them with those 2 Academy Award nominations that are so well deserved. And I'm kind of rooting for it at the Academy Awards. If it won, I'd be pretty happy with that. I still need to see a couple more of those international contenders, like the frontrunner, The Zone of Interest, which I think I'll be seeing in about a week or two. But we'll have to wait and see how it stacks up with that. But I do think Society of the Snow is a great film. If I'm going to give it a score, I think this film is a strong 4 out of 5. And just so easy to recommend to you all. And those are my thoughts towards Society of the Snow. Let me know what you think about this film in the comments below. I know I'm a little bit late to the party here. This film has been out for a little while now, but I'd really love to know what you think if you've seen it. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.